from the New England Steamrollers. And Steve Raible, 60 years ago in the National Football League, the Providence Steamrollers were NFL champions.
Come a long way, haven't they? Now in arena football, and have yet to win a game this year, but tonight may be their night.
That's our first and last bit of trivia for this evening. The Knights, Rex Moats, and a penalty flag goes down immediately as Moats brings it back to the 15-yard line, where number 85 for the Steamrollers, that's Jim Hockaday, wide receiver from the University of Georgia, who's, of course, having to play special teams and defense. Let's take a look at the offensive lineup right now for the New York Knights. Kurchicki is the quarterback. Derek Hughes is the running back. He's a big back. Alec Gibson's a tight end. Edwin Lovelady, one of the good names in arena ball, is the wide receiver. Rex Moats, the flanker. Al Washington, the wide receiver. Chris Jones, the center. And Pete Walters is the offensive lineman. And keep in mind that there is one of those down linemen that are eligible up front.
That's right. It'd be Alec Gibson, in this case, for New York. Pushing in the back on the kickoff, that's the penalty, and it backs up New York to their 4-yard line.
And we'll set the Steamrollers for you in just a moment. The clock runs continuously in arena football. Kurchicki going deep, and good defensive play. Chris Brewer from the University of Arizona. He was Arizona's top running back in 1985. And Bay Pirelli told us that he really hadn't played that well so far this season.
Well, he played pretty well on that play. Coming in, making it the play. Here's Kurchicki with the deep pass, and this is what New York loves to do. They love to go deep. They're not a ball control offense by any stretch of the imagination.
Defensively, Oliver, Murphy, and Felton up front. Hockaday, Jones, Rafferty, Hendley, the defensive specialist, and Chris Brewer, the safety 29. Each team has a defensive specialist because the quarterback does not play both ways. And pretty good defense right there by Williams. 45 is Alvin Williams, a 6-foot, 175-pounder from Texas Southern.
Now, had the Steamrollers come out here on offense, they'd start with a different group. But Alvin Williams, one of the better defensive players on this team and one of the fastest, a track guy from Texas Southern, steps in to make the play. So already a couple of good plays by the defense of the Steamrollers. And as Bay Pirelli told us this morning, this is what they have to do. Get in there, start playing a little more aggressive defensively. He also hopes to see some better pass rush than he's gotten in the past couple weeks.
Third down and 10. The ball from the 5-yard line. And Kurchicki has got a roll out of the pocket. And he throws it up for grabs. And they're going to say it was a forward pass. And it'll bring up a 4th and 10 situation. Now, here's one of the interesting things, Steve, in arena football. There is no punting. So consequently, with 8 yards for the end zone, and now the ball at the 5-yard line, you're looking at a 53-yard field goal attempt, and you go on back a little further. We'll take a look at it. This was ruled an incomplete pass.
Yeah, you know, if this was the NFL, it might be in the grass, but I mean big time in the grass. There you see the jersey back comes off, and he just loops it over his head, throws it away. They call it an incompletion.
Cradaville with the attempt, and he puts it into the stands, and that now will bring the ball to the... Well, they're going to mark it at midfield, right at midfield at the 25, and the fan gets to keep the football. The fan gets the ball. It's a lot easier to catch than a baseball, folks. We got a timeout in the field, and we'll be back to Providence right after this. Twibell, Steve Raible back with you. Good field position for the Steamrollers. Smith from midfield going deep. Right through the outstretched hands of number 45, Alvin Williams, who just made the good defensive play. And now a flag is down on the field from the zone official upstairs. And we'll check that penalty out for you in just a moment. As Steve will talk a little bit about the zone official, it's going to go against the New York Knights.
So in some way, shape, or form, it's going to be an illegal defense as we await the call.
Illegal zone defense, number 21. First down.
So the illegal zone defense against 21, Edwin Lovelady.
Lovelady now is playing a linebacker spot on defense. And he can blitz from the spot that he is playing. He is opposite the tight end. However, that time, he must have run right out of there and into an open area without covering a man.
Williams is the man in motion. Smith going to the side. What a stick, but even a better catch by Williams. Man coming up with a stick, number 26, Rex Moats from Austin P. And let's set the offense right now for New England. Harold Smith, the quarterback from Texas Southern. Cletus Jones, good running back from Florida State. Jeff Oliver's a tight end. Hockaday's a wide receiver. Brewer's a halfback. Rafferty's a wide receiver. Joe Felton, the center. And Kevin Murphy is the offensive lineman. The offense for Harold Smith, 9 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions so far this year. As he's got it second down now, as Jones is the man in motion, and they'll run it this time. And inside the 10, down to the 6-yard line for the New England Steamrollers, Chris Brewer. 6'2" and 212 from the University of Arizona. And the defense for the New York Knights, Chris Jones and Pete Walters. And Alec Gibson up front, Hughes, Lovelady, Gray, Moats, and Al Washington.
And keep your eye on Al Washington because he's the leading receiver on that team. He's also the top tackler on that team. He's a fine, fine athlete. He's played just about every position you can play.
Maybe he'll be a candidate for our Little Caesars Ironman Award at the end of the game.
Perhaps.
We'll be picking that for the end of tonight's contest. First and goal, just over 10 minutes to go as Williams is the man in motion. And they'll run it again. Cletus Jones is a ball carrier. He's big. 6 feet, 240 pounds, and Pirelli said he'd like to run the football a little more tonight.
And he's starting out right here, running into his own man. Number 89 is the tight end offensive lineman, Jeff Oliver, out of Boston College. Jeff got the worst of that, I think. But Cletus Jones carries it ahead, and so far, things working according to Babe Pirelli's game plan, who is calling the plays, by the way, tonight. Babe's signaling them in himself.
Take a little pressure off Harold Smith. Williams in motion. They'll run it again, and nothing that time for Cletus Jones. I had a host of players there for the New York Knights, led by Alec Gibson, 82, Pete Walters, 66. A lot of these players, Steve, as you take a look at Babe Pirelli calling the plays tonight, a lot of the players in arena football, guys who played replacement games in the NFL last year, a lot of them, like Harold Smith, the quarterback for New England, played in the Canadian Football League.
These guys have come from all over. They've got lots of experience. Of course, all of them have played college football and have been around the block a couple times. But this is a new game. This is a little different for them here.
Third down and goal. Smith has it deflected, and it was Gibson. And they say it was a forward pass. So they'll bring the ball back to the line of scrimmage.
Babe is saying, we had him in the end zone. We just couldn't get him the football. If you guys can block just another step longer. And that's another interesting point about this game, is a guy like Smith, who's not exactly a scrambler, has to be able to keep those feet moving and slide his way out of trouble because the blocking does not last long.
Dave Jacobs checks in, and since 1979, this guy's kicked around professional football as a place kicker. They'll set it down at the 11, call it a 19-yard attempt, and he misses it. And not by much. Now, Pirelli was very frank. He said, I lost confidence in him, but we're going to go with him tonight because we need those points. And sure enough, Jacobs was awfully close, but no good, and there's no score in the first quarter. For Jim Krochickia, that's a good ratio, Steve. 12 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions, completed under 50% for nearly 600 yards.
He's a fighter, too. He likes to stand in there. He'll take the shots. We saw him in the opening shots of this game with his chin split wide open.
A running play, and the Knights don't do that very often at all. Down at the bottom of the pile, as they pull him up, Johnny Shepard was the ball carrier, 5'10" and 185 from Livingston University. The Knights probably run it fewer times than anybody in arena football.
Well, and they score. They still put the points on the board, but they throw the ball long. They don't even have much of a control passing game, as we've talked about. They like to go deep. Lovelady is a fine, fine receiver, deep as well as Vince Corbin.
Call it a gain of 1. Washington's a man in motion to the near side out of the shotgun formation. And Krochickia breaks free. He just throws it up for grabs. 2 men were down there. Washington, number 20, was one of them. And Ken Sanders, a recent addition to this team from Weber State in Utah, was the other wide receiver.
As we've talked about at the top of the program, injuries decimating the wide receiver spot for New York. Pete Rayford on the injured list, as well as Greg Best, one of their better receivers. He's out. And so with that as the case, guys like Ken Sanders, who was down in Orlando but injured, now back up here with the team. And hoping to put some points on the board tonight for New York.
Yeah, we haven't really seen the shotgun from any arena team until the New York Knights here tonight. It makes sense. If they're going to throw it all the time, why not just be back there anyway? Not quite ready to get it that time was Al Washington. Ball was thrown just a little bit behind him, but had not turned around and looked for it. And so that's going to bring up another 4th and long situation. And let's see what the New York Knights decide to do this time. Gradeville will come in. He's from the University of San Diego. And they'll place it down 2 yards in the end zone. So with the 50-yard field, 8 yards, that's a 60-yard attempt right now.
So in this game, it's as good as a punt, which is basically what it's meant to be.
And he hooks it into the stands again. And the New York Knights, who in their first game lost their kicker with an injury and had to go to the bench and try to find someone, as once again, the fans get to keep the footballs that go in the stands. And Jim Valek having a word with his kicker, he says, why don't you try lining it up a little bit to the other side of the field? We'll be back in just a moment. One thing we'll find out for you, folks, if the home team or the visiting team is paying for the footballs, because New York kicked 2 of them out. Smith has got a good field position for New England again, and the attempted pass downfield and the man wide open for the Steamrollers was Jim Rafferty, a stocky wide receiver from Colgate,
who caught 7 passes last week. Here, Harold Smith setting strong. He gets hit. You don't see that afterward. Ball's a little bit high. And those are the kind of plays. New England has been this kind of team. I mean, they are just 1 catch away, 1 turnover away from putting a lot of points on the board.
Last week, 3 different receivers caught at least 7 passes from Harold Smith. Hockaday was another one. As the clock runs continuously, folks, until the final minute of the half and the final minute of the game, when it will stop for out of bounds and incomplete passes. Jones is in motion, and you can come toward the line of scrimmage before the ball snaps. Screen, good hit there, and a loose ball. How do they rule it?
They're going to rule it a fumble.
Pat Morrissey, the man that made the stick. He's a recent addition from Southern Connecticut State. Let's watch this again.
All right, here's Smith flipping the screen, and this is another play we don't see very much of, the screen pass. And I'll tell you what, Pat Morrison just absolutely levels him. Ball's on the ground, and New York comes up with it. So there, again, another turnover for the most turnover-prone team in the AFL.
Jeff Oliver was the intended receiver, and you can see the Steamrollers have committed the most turnovers in the league and have forced the fewest, and that does not bode well for Babe Pirelli, as Perchicchia now will have it. 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line, and they'll run it right up the gut, and they'll get inside the 20 down to the 19. As with 5 yards on the pickup for the New York Knights was Derek Hughes. He's a big back out of Michigan State, 6'3", 217. Played in the USFL with the Portland Breakers. You got to remember the name. One time the Boston Breakers.
That's right.
Well, they went Boston, New Orleans, Portland, and you just got to get the...
He was also at one time in the Seahawks training camp back in 1987. A big, good-looking fullback, and had the Seahawks not had a lot of fullbacks already, he might very well have made that team.
2nd down and 6 as Lovelady goes in motion. Quick out. The intended receiver for the New York Knights was Rex Moats at 5'8", 170 pounds. You know, during the first week of this season, the teams averaged 105 points per game. Offense. Average of 59 for the winners, 46 for the losers. After week 3, they averaged 65 points a game. So the scoring average has dropped 40 points in 3 weeks. Do you think the coaches are stressing defense a little bit here, Steve?
I think the coaches are stressing it, and I think the players are playing it a little bit better. They're getting used to it. Those early games, too, their legs were sore from training camp. They've finally got their legs back under them, so they're playing better defense all the way around.
3rd down and 6 out of the shotgun, or should we call it the sawed-off shotgun in arena football. Perchicchia runs it and is nailed at the 15-yard line. So that'll bring up a 4th down and 2.
Sylvester Bembry from Central Florida in on the play that time. 6'3", 260. And here's Perchicchia. Gets run out of the pocket. Almost has that ball stripped away. Fall down, Jim. I know you're a big guy. You're a strong guy. But at that point, all you do is take a chance of getting the ball knocked out of your hands. Get on the ground.
Last week, New York scored but 1 touchdown. That came with a minute 50 left in the game. We might go the first quarter here of this game without a score. 4th and 2, and New York will go for it. They'll run it. Derek Hughes didn't get it. Didn't get it. Coming up for the New England Steamrollers, 88 Joe Williams, one of the players. Also there, 51 Steve O'Malley. And a timeout by the New York Knights. Jim Valek and his coaching staff looking on. And we'll return to Providence with 2:03 to go in the first. Roger Twibell, Steve Raible back with you at the Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island. The New England Steamrollers from their 15, and the flag goes down immediately into the stands, goes the football. And a young lady in the front row comes up with a grab, and she gets to keep that football.
And there's also a flag down on the play, so be happy about that. You get to take that football home with you, and at this rate, we may have to toss it back onto the field.
We might set a record tonight for footballs lost into the stands.
Well, the flag is down again. The officials now talking to both teams. And let's see. Maybe there's no call. I don't see the ball being moved.
Illegal formation. The tight end with an ineligible number did not report. Now,
all right. You heard it. Tight end with an ineligible number did not report. Again, one of those two big guys up front. Well, three big guys actually up front.
Bembry, 68, or 51. Stephen O'Malley. One of those two guys is the eligible down lineman.
And he has to report so that the defense knows how to set their linebacker.
He doesn't wear an 80 number.
Right, because the linebacker to the side of the tight end cannot blitz. The linebacker away from the tight end, of course, can blitz. Stay with us, folks. We're going to give you these rules as the games go on.
First down and 13, less than 1 minute to go. In motion, number 9, Brian Gardner. And he makes the reception. At the 24-yard line, Brian Gardner, he had some injuries. They weren't sure what his status was. As the man for the New York Knights coming up to make the tackle, Vince Corville.
All right, Harold Smith knowing where he wants to go all the way on this play. Gardner just going down, turning out. Corville in pretty good position to make the play. But Gardner makes a catch. Again, he made 7 catches last week out of Prairie View A&M.
A guy by the name of, I'm going to think a wide receiver right now. I'll think of it. I was going to say Otis Taylor, but I think he was a Texas Southern. Harold Smith up for grabs, and a touchdown for the New England Steamrollers. 85 is Jim Hockaday, the leading receiver in arena football. And that comes with no time left in the first quarter. We almost had a shutout.
For a moment, I thought we were going to have a scoreless game. You can't play any better defense than this, but you also can't go after the football any better than Jim Hockaday did. Look at him, get the position, jump high for the ball. He's a tall kid anyway, 6'4", 215 pounds, out of the University of Georgia. Started down there for Vince Dooley, and he just came back and made a great catch on the ball. Nothing special about the throw, but another good play by Hockaday.
25 yards in a touchdown pass from Smith to Hockaday. 10th touchdown pass of the year as Jacobs comes on to attempt the point after. And he got it. Look at Jacobs. Thank you. Thank you very much. Place kicker. One of the loneliest men in the world. A standing ovation here in Providence.
Edge in their favorite sports with America's best selection of instructional sports videos, only from ESPN. Regular $39.95, now just $29.95 each if you call 1-800-554-9000 right now. Top coaches in basketball, football, baseball, soccer, and tennis teach your kids the basics and help them develop a lifelong love for the sport and a winning attitude. Now on video cassettes that you and your kids can play again and again. Just $29.95 each and only from ESPN Home Video. Coaches like University of Michigan's Bo Schembechler show your kids how to improve their game, add to their fun, and develop the right mental attitude. This 75-minute video is packed with fundamentals and exclusive coaching techniques. $29.95 never let you do so much for a kid. Call 1-800-554-9000 for teaching kids football or your free youth coaches catalog of videos. Only from ESPN Home Video.
Well, New England gets on the board first, and Jacobs will kick it off. They can play it off the net now, folks. And that goes over the end line, so it will be brought out to the 5-yard line. 28, Pat Morrison was the man that couldn't get a handle on it. And Steve, as a player, and Morrison is coming in this week, you still have to kind of acclimate yourself, and you got to think differently than you would if you're playing outdoors.
Well, the first thing, especially when you're back there trying to catch a kick, is you're looking up into a very, very low ceiling. If you're playing indoors anyplace else, you're talking about a domed stadium. You're looking right up, and it's the scoreboard right in front of you, so that's the first thing you have to get used to. Secondly, try to find your way around those nets and play the ball either under it or off of it. It's difficult if you haven't done it before.
Prochicchia, the quarterback for the New York Knights, and a penalty marker is down. The completion to Ken Sanders. He's got some speed and finally runs out of running room and runs into the boards, but there is a penalty flag down back at the 8-yard line.
And that flag was thrown just about the snap of the ball, so we'll see what Bill Sorgan has to say.
Most of the officials in arena football were officials in the United States Football League. They have a lot of college and professional experience.
There's no flag. Number 60 reported as a tight end.
Okay, number 60 for the New York Knights. And we'll take a look at the stats here. Well, New York didn't complete a pass in that first quarter.
Prochicchia, not as sharp as we have seen him in the past.
We're going to check on number 60 because we don't have. There's a flag that time. And Prochicchia still on his feet. He's got a man wide open. That's Al Washington. And it's a touchdown, but a penalty marker is down.
And I believe this one's going to come back. And it is a procedure call against New York. Jim Valek not at all happy.
Huh? Hey, Rick. Was Shepard? That's right. He's on Shepard. Yeah, it was the fullback. Yeah, that's right.
Come on, get it back.
And we're trying to figure out who exactly the penalty was called on, and it was called on Johnny Shepard. So here's Prochicchia. And watch this in slow motion. He pumps once.
Repeat first down.
Gets out of it. How he gets out of there, I have no idea. Throws it, and then he pays for getting out of there. He probably should have stayed on the ground or gone to the ground to save himself. At any rate, he did get the ball away. However, means nothing. It comes back. Procedure call against New York.
60 is Mark Grandy, 6'4" and 290 from the University of Louisville. Off the sawed-off shotgun, Prochicchia, and the completion right there to Ken Sanders, but right in his face with the tackle and not letting him get anywhere is Tony Slayton, wide receiver defensive back from Texas A&M, one of them Aggies. 13:25 to go first half, and the New England Steamrollers.
You're looking at David Hendley there, out of Southern Connecticut, the defensive specialist, just signed by the Steamrollers, in fact.
Yeah, they lost Pratt and Bianchini.
Right, and again, trying to shore up a defense that has given away a lot of points this year on big plays.
Washington is the man in motion, 2nd down and 9, and Prochicchia is nailed from behind. He loses the football, but one of the New York Knights comes up with it. Number 98 for the Steamrollers, Joe Felton.
Going to go the other way, it looks like, or is it not?
Now, the New York Knights were on the football, but they're going to turn it over and give it to the New England Steamrollers.
I think what they say is that Kevin Murphy actually came out of the bottom of the pile with it. Prochicchia pump fake again. They just cannot get any kind of protection for Prochicchia. He's going to have to go to the short passes. At any rate, it looked like New York fell on it, but 54, Kevin Murphy, the nose tackle. The nose tackle hits the football, hits the ground, and comes up with the football.
And New England wants a timeout. There's a little confusion getting players onto the field. There's Murphy. He's 6'3" and 260 from Boston University, a local lad from Beantown.
Best pass rusher on this team, according to Babe Pirelli, as well, and he just proved it that time.
Sergeant Twibell, Steve Raible here with you at the Providence Civic Center with the New England Steamrollers looking for their first victory of the year after 3 defeats. The New York Knights won their opening game against the Los Angeles Cobras, have lost their last 2, and Harold Smith, the quarterback. 1st and 10. Just gets it off in time, and the touchdown pass for number 28, Jim Rafferty. So Smith, his 11th touchdown pass of the season, 16 yards to Rafferty.
And Rafferty is lined up to the left of your screen. You can't see him yet, but he'll come all the way across the field. And you could see, after the play, we could see here a couple of the defensive backs for New York pointing fingers at each other, saying, I thought you had him. No, I thought you had him. Well, nobody had Rafferty, and he just saunters in with Smith's 2nd touchdown pass of the game.
And the point after, I'll tell you, Jacobs has got his confidence now. Boy, and the crowd loves it here. From Colgate, and New England with a 14-0 lead. Lot to cheer about in the Civic Center as the New England Steamrollers now have a 14-0 lead with 11:50 to go in the first half. It was just a few weeks ago against Pittsburgh. They trailed 20-0 after the first minute and 20 seconds of the game. So this is an unusual feeling for them as the Knights will bring it back. Pretty good run right there by Pat Morrison, man from Southern Connecticut State that was just added to the New York Knights roster, and a fight on the field. Brandy, number 60 for the New York Knights, and 88, Joe Williams, and
more a little dance than I think an actual fight. You'll see a lot of that. Actually, it's one of the great chances for these guys to get a break, get a rest.
They probably got the directive from the league that came down today that said that fighting will not be tolerated and fines up to $500. And when you're on a set wage here, $1,000 a game, you don't want to lose half of it for a fight.
Yeah, we're not talking NFL wages here. We're talking these guys play because they like to play. They get a couple of chances here maybe to show some folks what they can do.
Knights last week lost 30-7, lowest scoring game ever, and of course the fewest points by one team ever in arena football. As Morrison goes in motion, Prochicchia, who's had lots of pressure on him, is grabbed again and brought down. And the first man in there for the Steamrollers was Joe Williams, number 88, and also Steve O'Malley. O'Malley's that 6'3", 250-pounder, play right over the nose, and I'll tell you, Perilli loves him.
Hey, this kid was a team captain and All-American at Northern Illinois when he played there. He was on the Broncos injured list for a couple of seasons, so he had a chance to work with some awfully good defensive football players and learn the game. And that time he's just waiting for his chance for Prochicchia to get flushed out of the pocket, and he did the rest.
Bembry is over the center. Another good rush. Prochicchia, though, got a man deep. The intended receiver downfield was Sanders, and they have looked at him many times tonight, the recent addition from Weber State.
Prochicchia is having so much trouble getting enough time to throw, yet the offense of New York is geared around that deep pass. Something's going to have to change at some point. Either Prochicchia is going to have to get that ball off quicker and go to the short passing game, if they in fact have one in the game plan. They're only down 14 points. They can score 14 points in 35 seconds in this game of arena football, but they've got to get back to some sort of control game here because they don't give him enough chance to drop back, set for 2 or 3 seconds and wait to throw.
3rd down and 14 from the 10. Out of the pocket, going deep. Sanders is down there, can't quite get it. He had him. Sanders made a cardinal mistake for a wide receiver then. He saw the quarterback out of the pocket. He stopped running momentarily. Consequently, the pass just overthrown.
You know, you're in a difficult position when you're that far downfield. You don't know if you should come back to your quarterback and help him out or if you should just keep going. There's Prochicchia's throw, and I mean it's a deep one. Sanders had eased up a little bit. There it just sails over his head. May have been a catch. Ballack talking to his coaches and players, saying, hey, we'll get it back.
Cradaville, and it hits the scoreboard. Now, we were told that the New England kicker, Jacobs, had done this several times. This is the lowest scoreboard in arena football. And are they going to leave it right there at midfield?
Yeah, they'll bring it right down from the spot that it hit high in the scoreboard, so it comes down just about the 24-yard line.
Well, there's just another thing that you usually don't see in football that you've seen now here in arena football.
That's right.
When you check your bag on
Steamrollers with excellent field position once again at the 24-yard line. And Smith back and got his man, Brian Gardner, inside the 15 to the 14, but loses control of the football and will be brought back to midfield. You look at Seattle, Steve, at the Kingdom, what happens when a baseball or whatever is hit up into the...
And it's difficult because that dome is really high, but every so often somebody will hit one up there. They have some pennants hanging down in the middle of the dome or a speaker, let's say, and they'll ground rule it and put the guy on second base. We've had times when balls have actually hit and then bounced into the stands. You have that in every stadium.
That takes the long field goal out of play here because you've got to get some height on it, and you're going to hit that scoreboard every time. As Gardner's the man in motion again on 2nd and 10, going deep, wide open, and New England has scored again. Alvin Williams, and a penalty marker is down at the line of scrimmage.
While Williams does his dance, we'll wait to see what Burl Sorgan has to say about the penalty.
And that'll nullify that in a hurry.
Yeah, that'll... Well, here goes Smith dropping back. There you see players, somebody up there was holding. Tough to see in that
Joe
mess.
Felt looked like the man. Let's listen to Babe Perilli down on the sidelines. Well, Babe's not real talkative right now because his team's got a 14-point lead.
I think he's afraid to jinx it.
Babe's a man of very few words.
That's right.
So the ball will be placed at the 18.5-yard line, and it will be 2nd down and 15 for the New England Steamrollers with 8:14 to go in the first half. And New England, one of 6 teams in arena football, and 4 teams qualified for the playoffs. 2 undefeated teams being Pittsburgh and Chicago, and Pittsburgh playing Los Angeles at the Sports Arena in L.A. this evening. Smith coming near sideline, and the pass is dropped there by Jim Hockaday, the wide receiver from one of them Bulldogs from the University of Georgia, one of your favorite schools.
Yeah, we didn't like those Bulldogs very much when I was down at Georgia Tech, and you don't see Hockaday do this very much. As we said at the top of the program, leading the way in arena football with receptions. Had his eyes on it, had his hand there, just couldn't bring in the catch.
Look at that stat. 25 receptions that accounted for 53% of the New England yards this season.
You know, as a quarterback, you'll look to receivers. It happens in every game on every team. And once you start to feel confident, and Harold Smith is getting more confident as the season goes on. He started out pretty rough this year, but now he finds Hockaday, and he likes what he sees in that young man.
The penalty has been called against New York. And we'll move it across midfield to the 23-yard line.
We haven't had a call on it. All we know is Jim Valek, the coach of the New York Knights, was not very happy about it.
And that'll bring up a 3rd and 8. Pass is nearly intercepted. The New York Knights, Vince Corville, who was better known as a wide receiver when he played for the Houston Gamblers, one of that great group of receivers that Jim Kelly had down there, made some very, very good defensive play, but good pressure that time on Harold Smith by the New York Knights.
Corville, one of the Mouseketeers when he was down there in Houston, and we see Jacobs come back out again. Now, a guy who maybe hasn't had the confidence going with him, but last week as Fricky began kicking the ball well, let's see if we get the confidence rolling here for Jacobs.
40-yard field goal attempt. Oh, there was a man for New York in there. Now Jacobs, there's a fumble, the loose ball, touchdown. Folks, you saw it here first. You saw it here first.
Well, let's credit Johnny Shepard with the touchdown first.
Jacobs saw it was going to be blocked, and he says, Smith, you take it. I don't want anything to do with it. Look at this.
Now watch Smith. He's concentrating because it's a low snap. He has to bobble it. Jacobs gets out of the way. Somebody lets their man straight through the middle.
Was the man. Now Jacobs is going to make the tackle.
Gibson wants to pitch it back because he doesn't want to run the ball. He does, but he fumbles it. Johnny Shepard is the one that's there trying to pick it up. And notice you don't see many Steamroller players except one guy who lost his shoe was running back there trying to chase. Yes, friends, this will make our funny reel next week.
Unbelievable.
Arena football.
Well, turnovers has killed New England. 14-6, Cradaville to attempt the point after, and he makes it. So, an unusual turn of events here as Jacobs brimming with confidence after making a couple of extra points. But keep in mind, sometimes the kickers will have as many as 4 different snappers. Sometimes the holder as many as 4 different snappers.
You got to like the concentration by Smith. I mean, he never once took his eyes off that ball.
He didn't know the guy was coming. Jacobs bailed out on him.
Don't you love to watch a kicker trying to make a tackle, too? All right, Shepard finally says, this is ridiculous, guys. I'm going to make the play. And there, the barefooted Jacobs, the only Steamroller back there trying to make the play, and it's a whole lot too little too late.
14-7, and all of a sudden, with 6:23 to go, the New York Knights are back into it. And the turnovers, once again, will haunt Babe Burley and the New England Steamrollers. Cradaville will kick it off from the goal line. And New England, David Henley, the defensive specialist, is dragged down at the 17-yard line. The man on the tackle there was Edwin Lovelady, and next week we'll be in Pittsburgh with the unbeaten Gladiators, led by and the New York Knights. That'll be live at 7:30 Eastern Time. As I was mentioning, Mike Hohensee leads the Pittsburgh Gladiators. 15 touchdown passes, no interceptions after 3 games, and they're playing the Los Angeles Cobras this evening.
Boy, Pittsburgh looks pretty tough, too. They've got some great defensive players on that team and a fine quarterback in Hohensee. They're going to be tough to beat this year.
1st and 10 now for New England. Wide open on the side is Jones, and he is hit by 3 players at the 21-yard line. All right, Cletus Jones at 6 feet, 240 pounds. Hard to bring down, and it took 3 of them, Steve.
Cletus, once he gets those shoulders turned upfield, go for his ankles. Stay away from his shoulder pads because you're going to hurt yourself.
Elbert Gray
sticking his head in the back there.
Edwin Lovelady and Vince Corville.
That's right, 3 little guys to take down a guy that size.
And the clock continues to run. It will stop for incomplete passes and out of bounds in the final minute of the half. As Smith goes to the far side and finds his wideout Alvin Williams. Williams from Texas Southern, Smith from Texas Southern. It's interesting how guys who play at the same college kind of always find each other.
That's right. A couple of years apart, but still tend to gravitate toward each other. Alvin Williams was number 2 in the nation last season in interceptions down there at Texas Southern with 9, so obviously a defensive specialist doing a pretty good job on the offensive side. Remember, you got to play both ways in this game. There's only 18 players on a team.
And like all good wide receivers, was a track man, too. That's right. Like my partner here. Whoa, Smith was throwing a pitch out. The pitch out, folks, was intended for Jones, and Jones either forgot the play, but he turned upfield and forgot the football, and the penalty marker goes down. The ball is down at the 19-yard line. Now, this will be interesting. Watch 44. Jones, Cletus Jones, the motion man.
Now, is Cletus the blocking back? My guess is he was the blocker on that one, and Brian Gardner was the guy who was supposed to get the pitch out, but Smith just pitched it out there where he thought Gardner was going to be instead of where he was.
Well, they've moved the ball up to the 12-yard line and made it 2nd and 1.
So the penalty call must have gone against New York. Penalties are killing New York at this time. And for a change, New England has a ball bounce their way. I don't think that they've seen that all season long.
Once again, Jones is the motion man, and there it goes this time to Gardner. And he is pulled down and into the boards. 21, Edwin Lovelady makes a tackle.
Now, I'll tell you what the Steamrollers are trying to do. They're trying to get their big guy, Cletus Jones, their big fullback, out there leading the way. for this man, Gardner, who will have to go one-on-one on the only guy that's unblocked. That man is Edwin Lovelady, playing linebacker, but a little guy, 5'9", 180 pounds. If Gardner can beat Lovelady one-on-one, and that's the kind of matchup you're looking for, that's the one you expect to break, then New England maybe saunters in for 6.
14-7. First and 10. Ball at the 10-yard line. Completion and touchdown for the Steamrollers. That's Alvin Williams.
Great catch by the lanky one, Alvin Williams, the 6-foot, 175-pound sprinter. Watch the crossing route here. Harold Smith as sharp tonight as he's been all year. Just a great catch and a great, great outstretched catch by Alvin Williams.
10 yards on the touchdown pass, and now Smith has found Rafferty. He's found Hockaday, and he's found Williams as Jacobs to attempt the point after. And he's good. So Jacobs again with the point after. And Bay Perilli, the coach of the New England Steamrollers, wanted to say hi to Wayne Coffey and Mike Neese. Two of his players are on injured reserve. They're watching at home in Texas and Tennessee, respectively. And guys, here's your teammate. And you've got a 21-7 lead with 2:42 left to go in the first half. Bay Perilli, the head coach of the New England Steamrollers, was in the public relations business in Denver when he got a call today. We need a coach, two-time All-American under Bear Bryant of Kentucky in 50 and 51, a native of the state of Pennsylvania, and then second leading passer in Patriot history behind Steve Grogan.
Played on a couple of pretty good teams with the Jets as well.
Was also the backup quarterback Joe Namath when they beat the Colts in the Super Bowl. Who will forget that one? As the Knights now. Kenny Sanders, who's shown some pretty good speed, gets it out to the 14-yard line. 2:31 left to go. First half.
This may be the best thing the New York Knights have done all night, and that is return kicks. With Sanders back there, perhaps a pair of fresh legs, now that he's healthy. Again, we mentioned he went to training camp with the team down in Orlando, but came up lame, has been on their injured list for the last few weeks, activated because of the massive number of injuries to receivers for the New York Knights.
Jim Rafferty is checked in, and Hockaday comes out. So Rafferty playing one of the linebacker spots and immediately gets in on a tackle. Also there was Joe Williams. As the New York Knights go with the running play, Derek Hughes, the ball carrier. Oliver also there, 89.
Try not to get it back all at once. Try to establish something, get out from underneath their own goalposts. Now they're out there approaching midfield, midfield being the 25-yard line in arena football.
Joe Williams played for Eddie Robinson at Grambling. As we come down to 145 out of the shotgun, the motion man is Pat Morrison. Penalty marker is down. Krochikia intercepted. Alvin Williams. And he dives for the sideline. I'll tell you, he got down in a hurry, didn't he? He was looking for that green stuff.
Well, he was afraid that somebody was going to drive him into the wall if he didn't get down on the ground ahead of time. Now let's check out the penalty flag. Earl Sorgan's talking to the New York players, but I think he's saying it's against you guys, so don't worry about it. But let's see.
Excuse me. Number 60 on the offense did not report. Penalty is declined.
That's the second time that's happened to the New York Knights. And those are just stupid mental mistakes there. I mean,
that's exactly what...
He's got a report because he's an eligible receiver, but he's not wearing an 80 number.
That's exactly what Valek was saying, Coach Valek on the New York sideline. And Harold Smith just gets more confidence as this game goes on.
Now 1:29 left to go. The clock starts. It will stop on out-of-bounds, incomplete passes inside the 1-minute mark. 21-7 New England. They're looking for their first victory of the year. Harold Smith's had 3 touchdown passes tonight. He's got 12 on the season. Smith, plenty of time again. Incomplete, and that could have been interference. That could have been interference. Al Washington was the cover man.
Well, you have to consider what the official also looks for is the ball catchable. Just because legs tangle up down there, the rule of football now is if the ball is catchable, and that must be the thought on the minds of the officials.
So we've got 1 minute left to go in the first half, and the officials will tell everyone that as of right now, out of bounds, incomplete passes, the clock will stop, and of course, the timeouts for each team, 2 for the New England Steamrollers and 3 for the New York Knights. So the situation is the New England Steamrollers with a 21-7 lead over the New York Knights. New England looking for their first victory of the year. One of 2 teams in arena football without a victory, the other Los Angeles Cobras. And realistically, the New England Steamrollers have had their problems, as we appreciate the folks bringing the signs out tonight. The Steamrollers last week lost a close one to the Detroit Drive, 29-24, but you'll remember the week before last when Pittsburgh ran up 82 points on them, including 20 points in the first 80 seconds of that football game. But tonight appears to be a different story. Babe Pirelli told us earlier today he's still a couple of players away from where he'd like to be. Right now it's 2nd and 10. Williams is the motion man to the far side. Smith got players in a crossing pattern, and Rafferty got tangled up downfield with 29 Chris Brewer, who's checked into the game. There's a look at Brewer. Played his college football at the University of Arizona. Was a starting running back for the Wildcats and rushed for over 600 yards in his senior season. 3rd down and 10. 56 seconds left to go. And folks, this last minute of the first half can last a long time when you consider the narrowness of the field. Passing is so prevalent, and the timeouts. You can get a lot of action in the final minute. As Smith is grabbed by one player. He's got 2 men, and he flips a little pass in front. 88 for the Steamrollers is Joe Williams, and he moves it inside the 20 down to the 17-yard line. There's a look at it again. The clock is still rolling right now because he didn't get out of bounds. We finally get a timeout, but a nice job of Harold Smith scrambling there to find Joe Williams, number 88. As we take a look down on the field from up above here at the Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island, the home of Providence College basketball, also the home on many occasions of Boston Celtics during preseason. So the Celtics do play some preseason games here, as we're going to take a look at Chicago-Detroit highlights right now. This game from last night. And this at Detroit, where another great crowd of over 15,000 at Joe Louis Arena. And Chicago decided to run the football. This is 32, Billy Stone. He goes 22 yards for the second of his 3 rushing touchdowns. So Chicago got out to the early lead, but James Brown here with a 6-yard touchdown run for Detroit gives the Drive a very short-lived 15-14 lead. That in quarter number 3. Chicago's got one of the best QBs in arena ball, Ben Bennett. He finds 92 Jeff Faulkner, 31 yards in the TD, the catch and run as we come back live. The field goal attempt off the net. The Steamrollers take it in for the parent score, but they didn't get, there's a penalty marker down. There's a penalty marker down, and the officials are conferring right now. So anyway, the game last night, Chicago beat Detroit. Chicago now 4-0, Detroit 2-2, and Chicago, one of the 2 unbeaten teams in arena football. Earl Sorgen's going to bring the football out to the 8-yard line, and here's what happened. Well, that's what I was going to say. They didn't give the man 5 yards. You have to give a man 5 yards out of the end zone. Now let's take a look at it here now. The field goal attempt right from midfield, so call it 32 yards. Off the net, and never had 5 yards. Krachickia with 26 seconds to go. Penalty marker down, and wide open is number 20, Al Washington. And the penalty is going to be against the New York Knights. Well, as I said, folks, with timeouts, with out of bounds, stopping the clock, with incomplete passes, stopping the clock, and with officials making penalty calls, the last minute can last a while. And once again, number 60 caught on the illegal formation. So the New York Knights and Mark Grandy having some problems getting adjusted to arena football, as Grandy has been called several times for not reporting, and that time for an illegal formation. Still first down, 13 yards to go, 20 seconds left to go in the half, and the Knights trail 21-7. Quick out that time, and a beautiful tackle on the far side. Number 45 for the New England Steamrollers, Alvin Williams, comes up and makes the hit as the clock runs, and the New York Knights want a timeout. So New York not really with their thinking caps on tonight. They've made a lot of mental mistakes. Citing the instance of Grandy not reporting a couple times there, the wide receiver. Somebody should be calling timeout immediately, as Jim Valek, who played in the Rose Bowl for the University of Illinois, was a teammate of Perry Moss, who's the coach of the Chicago Bruisers, and Jim with the New England Patriots, then the New Jersey Generals of the USFL as vice president and general manager. 6 seconds left to go in the first half, and Steve Raible will be joining us in just a few moments. He's got a halftime interview coming up as Valek confers with the official, and Krachicki will go back out on the field. Mentioned that next week we'll be seeing the New York Knights again. They'll be at Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to take on the Pittsburgh Gladiators. Mike Cohensy's off to a great start, and of course Pittsburgh playing Los Angeles tonight in LA. Now let's see if this goes off the net. Let's see what he does on this play, the final play of the first half. He is going to throw it deep and try to get it off the net, and he just overthrows everyone. And that will end the first half of play here at the Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island, where Harold Smith has just done a tremendous job with touchdown passes to Williams, Rafferty, and Hockaday. And his team with a 21-7 lead over the New York Knights. And if it's not a fumbled field goal attempt, New York doesn't score at all. We're at halftime, and we'll be back with more from Providence as New England leads New York 21-7. New England Steamrollers lead the New York Knights 21-7 at halftime as the Steamrollers look for their first victory of the 88 Arena football season. And this was a play that happened a little bit earlier as David Jacobs with Harold Smith on the hold. And Jacobs, who'd been struggling kicking all year, the barefooted style. And hey, folks, he finally got one through, and Jacobs has made 3 extra points. And let's go down to Steve Raible.
All right, this is David Jacobs, number 3 for New England. David, you've been kicking the ball well tonight. You've had some problems maybe a little early in the year, but what does this crowd do to pump you up being at home?
Well, it's unbelievable. This is the best situation I've ever been in as a ball player. They're really behind me. Last week, we had 6 attempts, and 4 of them hit the uprights, and today we had 1 field goal hit the uprights. So I feel real good about the whole situation here. It's starting to come together. Our team's playing very well. So we hope to have victory tonight.
Basically, for the team, you just need some confidence, I guess. Bounces have not been going your way this season.
Yeah, that's the truth. We're a new team in the league. We feel that once we get it together, we've got great athletes, and we think we're going to, win a lot of games here. As far as the kicking, we got our snaps down, our holds down. Now all I got to do is put it through, and tonight it's working out real well, and hopefully, we'll continue success.
Now, if anybody in this league kicks drop kicks, it's Dave Jacobs. If anybody can be successful, it's you. Are we going to see some drop kicks tonight?
Well, I hope so. Coach Pirelli and myself, we talked about it. If we get in a situation where we need the 4 points for the field goal or we need 2 points for the extra point, we're definitely going to do it because we've been working on it, and hopefully it'll go through the 9-foot goalpost.
All right, you've stayed sort of of in the neighborhood here. A Syracuse man, orange man, a little bit lucky here, gets to continue on wearing the orange jersey.
Yeah, you know, Syracuse had a great year, as everybody knows, 11-0, and Dick McPherson did a great job, and he's going to do a great job next year and the years to come. I feel real fortunate to be still in football here. I'm 30 years old and have had an opportunity to come and play here for Babe Parilli, and I just want to play for a long time, and I feel real confident that I can.
All right, David, you can make everybody at home happy. Our switchboard is lighting up. They want to see a drop kick. Good luck in this
Time at the Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island, where the New England Steamrollers, looking for their first victory of the 1988 season, lead the New York Knights 21-7 here at halftime. And the story in the first half has been the fact that Harold Smith has thrown 3 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers, and the New York Knights, as they did a week ago, really not able to do anything offensively, even though they have their starting quarterback, Jim Crocicchia, back. As a matter of fact, the only touchdown for the New York Knights on this night, a field goal attempt by the New England Steamrollers. Bad snap. Smith can't get a handle. Jacobs sees that it's going to be blocked, and it's picked up right there by number 82 of the New York Knights, Alec Gibson. The ball is bobbled around, and Shepard finally picks it up, and Jacobs can't make the tackle, but he throws a little drop karate sort of kick at him. It doesn't help, but that is the only score for the New York Knights. Meanwhile, Harold Smith of the New England Steamrollers, right before the end of the first half, finds Williams, 45, great catch, and then the leap into the end zone, and a 21-7 lead. And the New York Knights with a lot of mental mistakes, and Jim Crocicchia not playing last week, having the injury, really having a dismal first half. On this play, a penalty down, he throws his 3rd interception of the year, the first of the night, and it's returned by that man, Alvin Williams. And consequently, at halftime, the New England Steamrollers have a 21-7 lead over the New York Knights, and we'll be back with more of halftime from Providence.
Halftime is wrapping up here in Providence. The score 21-7. The Steamrollers on top of the New York Knights, and one happy coach, Babe Parilli of the Steamrollers. You got to be happy with the way things are going for your team right now.
Well, it's a rare occasion, Steve, that we're ahead at the halftime, but we're enjoying it. But believe me, in arena football, you can't relax.
You've been able to control turnovers tonight, which is something that has plagued you in the past. You've also gotten some great consistent play out of Harold Smith tonight.
Harold has thrown well. I think a few occasions we had our protection break down. However, all in all, it's been pretty good.
Happy with the defense up to this point?
Defense is playing excellent.
All right, Babe, we'll let you get back. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you, Steve.
The New England Steamrollers have not won a game this season. At this point, however, at 21-7, they are looking pretty good. Roger?
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. And Vito, Babe Parilli, who has done just about everything in football, from playing through coaching, now in arena football as head coach of the New England Steamrollers. And take a look at the statistics here at halftime. New York 3 out of 13 on pass completions. New England 9 of 19. See the touchdowns. Passing yards just 25 for the New York Knights, 92 for New England. Penalty yards 6 for 27, 3 for 13. Field goals 0 for 3 for both teams, and turnovers 2 apiece. And the stat that I mentioned earlier about the offense decreasing, boy, is really evident so far here tonight. 105 points per game after the first week, 65 points per game after week 3. That's a drop of 40 points. So defense is really taken over as Jim Ballack, the head coach for the New York Knights, gathering his troops.
All right, remember, those ones, let's get down there and cover. Let's cover it, everybody together. Let's go. Let's get after it. Let's get that ball right now. All right.
Win, man, win.
All right.
On three.
1, 2, 3, win. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
And Babe Parilli talking with his quarterback, Harold Smith. Jim Ballack trying to get his guys motivated. And it's been a tough couple of weeks. They've had a lot of injuries. And one thing about arena football, 18 players in the roster, and players having to play both ways. This is a tough game. It's tough physically. We've seen it weeks before where players have cramped up in the fourth quarter. Not just anybody can come in and play this game. And I think people are finding that out as the season progresses. Injuries crop up. We're underway, second half. And the New England Steamrollers take it. 9 is Brian Gardner, still on his feet. Gardner breaks loose. He could go all the way. And he's brought down by the kicker, Jim Crowderville. And there's a penalty marker down. Well, I'll tell you, that gets the kickers pumped up when they can make those touchdown-saving tackles like Crowderville did just then. And Gardner is still down on the ground. and also a penalty flag still down.
Don't talk to me. I just ran up from downstairs.
Raible, you're a wide receiver. You ran a 9.400. You're supposed to be in good shape. What's wrong?
I'm old, that's what. Oh, my.
Well, just catch your breath.
Personal foul. Grasping the face mask on the tackle. Half the distance to the goal line.
Let's take a look at Gardner now. Who got him by the face mask? Was it 28 there for the Knights? Pat Morrison? He makes the move back outside. Good cut to the outside. Cradaville.
There it is. Right on the side. Grabs. Ooh, that's dangerous, too. And he didn't let go. Normally,
it looked like he had his earpiece, maybe.
Or the very corner of the face mask, but you could see the head turn completely around, and that is dangerous. And again, a kicker who is not used to making tackles gets his hand stuck in there and doesn't let go.
That's Brian Gardner, the man that brought the kickoff back. And Cradaville made a touchdown-saving tackle. It was unfortunate that Gardner was injured. And they're going to take a little time here.
This guy had the reputation at Prairie View A&M of being a big play kind of guy, pass receiving and kickoff returns.
I was thinking of Otis Taylor. And Otis played at Prairie View.
Otis was a couple of years before me, but certainly a hero as far as wide receivers go.
One of the great high steppers, wasn't he, of all time?
My.
So Gardner back up on his feet, and maybe just to catch an extra rest. I was mentioning, Steve, while you're coming back up, that some of the problems the New York Knights have had with injuries, not anyone can just play this arena football. And they're finding that out as the season progresses with injuries. Well, you got to be a special type of athlete to play two-way football.
It certainly helps to have had some two-way experience. You know, even high school these days don't have players that go both ways, let alone into the college ranks.
So New England, 21-7 lead. Great field position. Jones will take it right up the gut, inside the 5, down to the 4-yard line. The New York Knights man in the middle, Quentin Knight. 6'2", 6". It's great to have a last name that's the nickname of the pro team you play for. He's from Cal State Fullerton.
Nobody forgets who you are that way. And Cletus Jones, he runs into enough people, they won't forget who he is either. He is just a real horse inside. Big and strong and a linebacker by trade. Asked to carry the football and just loves, these defensive guys love getting the opportunity to play offense.
Jones played at Florida State, was drafted by the New England Patriots, right up the middle, and brought down by number 32 of the New York Knights. That's Johnny Shepard. Now, a lot of folks, Steve, maybe haven't seen 8-man football before arena football. But if any of those viewers are out there in states like Kansas and Nebraska, Dakotas, a lot of small towns, Colorado, they play 8-man football at small schools.
Washington State, we have a league out there called B8, where you get the smaller schools playing 8-man football.
One of the great players in the NFL played 8-man football in the state of Kansas, a guy by the name of Nolan Cromwell.
You're absolutely right.
Ransom, Kansas.
What an athlete.
Nolan, great athlete. And he played 8-man football in high school. 21-7. Steamrollers getting ready to punch it in again. Harold Smith on an option, and the play is whistled dead. The New York Knights, number 65, Quentin Knight, was the man in there. Now, Knight didn't get much playing time in the first half, and he's come in and caused a couple of disruptions, and that's an interesting call there. We've seen that option a couple times, and it doesn't really work much.
Well, you've really got to block your guys. You got to hold them out even longer than normally on a 3-step drop situation if you're going to drop back as a quarterback. Quentin Knight leading the New York Knights in sacks, and he sneaks in and grabs himself another one.
Jacobs now will come in to attempt a field goal. This would be a big stop here for the New York Knights if they can hold the Steamrollers. Smith will put it down at the 14-yard line. A 22-yard field goal attempt. He's 0 for 3 tonight, and he's 0 for the season on field goal attempts.
I think it's about his time. I think he's...
Oh, and that was a drop kick, folks. That was going to be a drop kick.
Well, he told us he would... Well, now we got a little... some guys out there singing and dancing.
Boy, Harold Smith better back up. Boy, you don't want your quarterback slapping helmets with his bare hands. Now, Jacobs got nailed.
Now, there's Shepard in the middle of that for New York. And Tony Slayton for the Steamrollers.
Chris Brewer is trying to be the peacemaker, but I want to tell you, Jacobs got nailed.
All right, there's the drop kick attempt at a field goal.
Look at Washington.
Alfonso just kind of comes in there and slugs him with the forearm.
Well, he got him right in the throat. He just came in, he stuck his elbow up, and he got him right in the throat.
I think maybe Jacobs wasn't expecting it, although I think maybe he helped his cause a little bit by hitting the ground quickly.
It's going to be offsides on the New York Knights, which is another silly penalty, and they've had several of them this evening. And Jacobs will remain in.
Before the snap, illegal contact by the defense. 4th down.
Dave Jacobs, as we told you a little earlier, an All-American from Syracuse, and let's see if once again he's going to try the old drop kick routine.
The drop kick will come in a direct snap to Jacobs from center, and he'll do it from the side winding angle. Now the ball will be placed at the 11 if a conventional field goal is tried, and that's what they're going to try, and he missed it. So their initial thought was to go for the drop kick, which would have been 4 points instead of 3, which would have given them a 25-7 lead. The penalty, they go for the field goal. It doesn't work, and we'll be back to Providence in a moment. Roger Twibell, Steve Raible here with you at the Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island. The New York Knights have been in a hole all night. And Krochickia with the short drop and the pass and a big completion. That time, something a little bit different. Rather than going for the deep route, they went for the short one, and Pat Morrison with a nice catch and then a nice run.
I wonder if Jim Valek heard me right before the half. Probably not. Still in all, a good play. Turn around. The guys are going to be playing a little bit deeper for New England. They don't want to get beat deep and give up the big play. So let Pat Morrison, a 6'3", 195-pounder out of Southern Connecticut State, make the catch, turn upfield, break a couple of tackles, pick up some good yardage.
So Krochickia trying to get things going here in the second half. His team trails 21-7. And once again, going the short route. And that's 28 Pat Morrison from Southern Connecticut State. He's across midfield to the 23-yard line. Now, Krochickia, an economics major at Penn, wants to work on Wall Street someday.
Well, actually, you know, he was doing some work on Wall Street before the bid came along to take a shot at arena football.
What about you guys? I mean, you can't get it out of your system, can you? I bet you somebody came and made you an offer, Raible, you'd come back and play.
No. Huh? When you do, Roger.
Oh, yeah.
When you put back that 35, 40 pounds.
That's ancient history.
Yeah.
Washington dancing around. Short out, and boy, I'll tell you what. Sanders had it right there. This is a little bit better. This makes the defense play a little bit more honest. And that time, that pass was right in the numbers to Sanders, and he dropped it.
Kenny Sanders going to walk back to the huddle, and he knows he should have had the ball. Saying, hey, sorry, man. What can I tell you? Krochickia, though, did have some smoke on that. He threw that one on a line. I'm sure Jim Valek in the locker room at halftime telling him, let's throw no more of those floaters. Let's keep it out of the stands, and let's put it in our receiver's hands.
3rd down and 5. Krochickia, and there's another pass drop. And that time Washington was the intended receiver.
And Alfonso has been a sure-handed receiver much of the season, and he's upset with himself. Again, a 1st down. All you got to do is go down and get the sticks and make the turn.
I know you never drop many passes, but what do you tell the quarterback when, like Krochickia, when he puts it right in your numbers here when you come back to the huddle?
Well, you know, the quarterback is probably the most understanding person on the field because he knows that in the first half he overthrew you a half a dozen times or underthrew you or hung you out to dry and got your lungs taken away from your ribcage. So he understands that you're not going to make every single play. You just got to forget it, come back and do it again.
4th and 5, and they'll go for it. With the clock running and less than 9 minutes to go in the 3rd. There again, another pass drop. And even though the defensive man for the New England Steamrollers, number 29, Chris Brewer, was right there, that ball should have been caught.
Well, the last 2 passes should have been caught. And Krochickia, there you can see he's cheerleading. He's telling his team, forget about it, guys. But Al Washington couldn't get the last drop off his mind, and that one he dropped as well.
So after the big kickoff return by the New England Steamrollers and a good job defensively by the Knights, they get it to midfield but can't move it any further. And the Steamrollers will have it in good field position when we return.
Some guys, they have it all. Some guys are just too big. Some guys, they have a ball. Some guys get left out in the rain.
Don't wait for something good to happen. Make it happen with the clean, masculine scent of English leather cologne.
Some guys have what others want. Some guys have it all.
English leather. Some guys have it all.
Back at the Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island, the Steamrollers with a 21-7 lead and ball in good field position at the 23-yard line. Here's We have 8 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. Third quarter. And Harold Smith, the quarterback, short drop, short pass, and the completion to Alvin Williams at the 21-yard line for the New York Knights. Rex Moats makes the tackle. You know, Steve, we started this at the beginning of the year, and we've seen, well, Pittsburgh score over 80 points. Last week we had 115 points scored in the game. We said, gee, there'll never be a low-scoring game. And last week, New York scored but 7, and here we are in the third quarter, and they've scored but 7 this week.
And early on, it was turnovers. Now they're playing a little bit better defense, I think, is the reason why they can't put any points up right now.
Smith, the intended receiver, Hockaday, who is not really, other than a touchdown catch, not been that involved, but Smith really likes to spread the wealth around.
Well, and again, Hockaday just taking his eyes off the ball. And we're early, midway through the third quarter here. These guys have just come back out from a halftime break. They shouldn't be too terribly tired at this point, so you can't blame fatigue on a couple of these drops. When you throw the ball as much as these teams do in arena football, I guess you tend to get a little lazy once in a while on a catch.
Third down and 5. Hockaday is split to the near side. Smith, the pass nearly intercepted, and I'll tell you what, Vince Corville is really upset. The intended receiver was Chris Brewer, 29, and Corville, who ran so many deep routes to Jim Kelly with the Houston Gamblers, would have been delighted with an interception.
At the beginning of the season, when we talked to Jim Valek, our opening day game on ESPN pitted New York against Los Angeles, and one of his questions of Corville was, I just don't know if this young man can play enough defense to warrant his being out on the field very long.
Albert, get out of there.
We've called his name more on defense. He's yelling at Albert Gray to get out of that tackle zone area on a field goal attempt by Jacobs, and it's blocked. It's picked up by Gibson. The block came from number 66 for the Knights, Pete Walters. I'll tell you, he was right in Jacobs' face. Another good defensive effort by the New York Knights.
Albert, I don't want you to. I don't want you to. You don't love lady. Hey, I want love.
Yes, I'd like 2 of those pizzas.
Those pizzas? They'll be $17.99.
$17.99? But it says $10.99.
Not for those pizzas.
How can that be?
Think if you refer to the fine print.
Fine print?
Not vendor responsible.
May I help you?
Who are you?
I'd like to introduce our corporate attorney. He's here on a regular basis.
No, I'm not surprised.
At Little Caesars, you always get 2 great pizzas for 1 low price.
Pizza.
Only at Little Caesars.
We're taking a look at the owners of the New England Steamrollers. Bob Andreoli on the left and Frank Russo on the right. And we are back to action here now on the New York Knights after another good defensive stand against the New England Steamrollers. Have good field position. Try to do something offensively now as they've got good field position themselves. A running play to start things off. Gain of maybe about a yard, and the Knights have really not been able to do anything on the ground.
They haven't. We'll see if Derek Hughes, number 44, can do it. He's nicknamed Mr. Excitement for this team. He hasn't been terribly exciting so far tonight.
Krochikia throwing a lot more short route stuff here to begin the second half. And that time he is swarmed over. The first man to get him as they peel the players off is number 85 for the Steamrollers. That's Jim Hockaday, one of the guys in there.
Steve O'Malley was in there as well. And again, one of the things Babe Pirelli said they needed this game was a better pass rush, especially out of the outside guys, the defensive ends. And he seemed to be getting it.
Just legal on wherever he is.
I know it.
I don't think Babe is real calm yet. I think he'd like to see a few more points on the board on the third and 16. Krochikia. He's got a man in the end zone, but throws it over the boards. And Krochikia, with a lot of pressure on him one more time, has to move up and out of the pocket. And, he's talking to his team going, well, we got a 4th down and 16 now. 4:21 left to go on the third. And it appears as though they have brought in Jack Cradaville. And a field goal attempt. The ball will be placed down. Let's call it the 20. It'll be a 43-yard attempt. 9 feet wide is the opening. Good snap. Got the laces. And off the screen. And Gardner falls on it in the end zone. And that'll be brought out to the 5-yard line.
Wisely falls on it, too, because New England had that problem one time here a couple of weeks ago. Tried to play it off the net, dropped it, gave it up on a fumble, and the other team scored.
Satin finish has the look that gets the looks. You can see why it's worth more.
Harold Smith and the Steamrollers will have it from their own 5-yard line. And the pass completed. Number 27 on the receiving end, Tony Slayton. 6 feet, 193 from Texas A&M, and we're told that Arena Football Commissioner Jim Foster is at home in Chicago last night watching the game for the first time on TV. I'm sure he's watched tapes. He's usually attended games and has never had an opportunity to do a live television game. So he's home with his wife, Susan, and newborn son, Niall Kinnick Foster. You remember University of Iowa Heisman Trophy winner, Niall?
Second Heisman Trophy winner, I believe, right?
So we say hello to them. And the pass complete out to the 20-yard line. The New England Steamrollers have got it rolling. Jim Rafferty. And there is a blow-up on the near side. Harold Smith, the quarterback's got his helmet off. And looked like Gibson, 82, and Smith, the quarterback for New England, were the first two. And now there are a couple of other fights flaring up. And once again, a league directive issued this afternoon. Players will be fined $100 for fighting, and that's the minimum. It could go up higher than that.
They ought to fine Harold Smith a couple of $100 just for being silly enough to take his helmet off, unless somebody actually ripped it off of him. Harold, you shouldn't do that, buddy, and especially a quarterback. He's rubbing his mouth there. He obviously took a shot.
Most quarterbacks are told to run and hide when a fight starts.
Well, he's a tough kid. I mean, we'll give him that, and he's an intelligent young man. He's really starting to get that confidence that you have to play quarterback. You certainly wouldn't want to lose the rest of your season on a broken hand trying to take a swing at somebody.
First of all, personal foul both ways, here and here. After that, personal foul on number 8 of the offense.
Ooh. How many times have you seen a quarterback called for a personal foul? Maybe Bobby Lane back in the old days.
Yeah, none that I can think of present day would be called for personal foul.
Who's the toughest quarterback you've ever...
Well, I watched Bobby Douglas play, and Bobby was pretty tough. Pretty tough.
Go along with that. He wouldn't back down from anybody. No. He was bigger than most everybody.
That's right. You know, Jimmy Zorn, for the number of years he played with the Seahawks, and the way he scrambled out and ran around back there and set himself up to take shots, he was a pretty tough kid, too. Probably pound for pound, you'd have to say Francis Tarkenton. Well, the amount of running that he did, and never really a serious injury.
So there's a look at Harold Smith. The personal foul assessed. 2nd down and 4 now. Gardner, the motion man. And Smith throwing near side, and the completion to Gardner. And that's a 1st down for the New England Steamrollers. Morrison and Washington were both over there. I'm surprised as we talk about the New England Steamrollers, and we look at them tonight. Maybe Perilli, when we asked him today about calling the plays, maybe it's something he wishes he'd done earlier in the season now. Because I know, having been a quarterback himself, I'm sure you love to call your own plays, but in the scheme of things here, I think maybe he's hit on something.
For sure, and even though the offense is fairly simple, there's not a whole lot of things you can do out here offensively. It's just one of those pressures that the quarterback has to take care of. If you take it off his shoulders, it's easier.
1st and 10, Smith with time. Pass nearly picked off. Sanders was the man there, and another penalty flag is down. And I'll tell you what, Smith is being calmed down in the backfield by Sylvester Bembury. He comes back and says, hey, big fella, let us take care of all that. grabbing and holding and fighting and slugging and stuff.
All that fun stuff that makes football great.
Penalty's going to be against the New York
Personal
Knights.
foul, roughing the passer, number 65, White. We can't...
Quentin Knight, who was involved in the scuffle a couple of minutes ago, and again, as we've been telling you, the top sacker on this New York team. Maybe that's one of the reasons he's the top sacker. He just keeps fighting till after the whistle blows.
Well, they've got 1:33 left to go in the third. No scoring so far in this third quarter. Smith running out of room. And there was an interesting situation that developed right there for the New England Steamrollers because some indecision by Tony Slayton. The pass was overthrown, and Slayton stopped and looked up to see if the ball would come off the screen. It wasn't quite as high. And now another confrontation. Grandy, number 60 for New York, and 68 for the Steamrollers, Sylvester Bembry. And we've mentioned on several occasions so far about the players being fined for fighting. And we'll tell you again, it's a $100 fine, that fighting won't be tolerated, but we don't know if Smith has indeed been fined $100, being assessed with that personal foul a few minutes ago.
Yeah, that's going to be something probably after the reviews of the films, after the game is over. Officials don't like to do anything in the heat of the moment. So now guys are going to talk it over a little bit. On the one side, Harold Smith and Johnny Shepard on the other, talking about it, saying, come on, guys, let's just play football here.
Shepard's probably bringing them together and say, hey, guys, you know, we don't make a lot of money here. And, you know, this got this $100 fine thing. And I just figured out we could all be in a lot of trouble. You know?
That's right. I've got rent to pay. And, you know, Shepard is an interesting one to be telling not to fight because he may be pound for pound the meanest guy on this New York team. Yet he seems to be in complete control of himself out there.
2nd and 10. Less than a minute to go in the third now. And Smith is in trouble. Oh, and he is slammed down. And look at, I'll tell you what, those defensive linemen, Quentin Knight, a little showboat action. Well, you know, they outlawed that in the other league.
Well, you know. But let him, sure. I mean, he made a big play. Give him an opportunity.
Hey, if an offensive player can showboat, why can't a defense?
That's right. Sylvester Bembry looking for some place to crawl into and pull the grass up over him because, I'll tell you, Quentin just blowing right past him and making the play.
6 foot, 265. And time running out here in the third quarter. And I've got to venture a guess, this is probably the first quarter of football ever in arena football where both teams failed to score.
Probably a pretty good guess. I'd buy that.
All right.
We'll check it out.
We're going to go to the final 15 here with New England looking for their first win of the year and leading 21-7. Roger Twibell, Steve Raible back with you. The Providence Civic Center. Final 15 minutes. And remember, the clock stops the final minute of this final quarter of action here in arena football. Harold Smith back to throw, and the pass was momentarily caught and then knocked loose. Number 26 for the New York Knights, the man right there was Rex Moats. And that'll present a 4th down situation now.
And what you don't see in this replay is the fact that going to the ground was Harold Smith, the quarterback, and he has taken some nasty shots. When we were away during commercial break, over on the sideline, Babe Pirelli talking to his quarterback and telling him, look, Harold, be smart. We cannot afford to lose you by getting involved in fights. Keep your cool, and we're going to win this football game. But you got to keep your cool and continue to make these plays.
Jacobs now will attempt a 53-yard field goal. And he kicks the ball awfully high, so that scoreboard might be a problem for him. No, it's not a problem. And it goes through the end zone underneath the nets. That'll be brought out to the 5-yard line. That's a good job. That's a job well done. There is no punting in arena football. And I hope we get to see Jacobs try a drop kick on an extra point or a field goal tonight. Because I think that's one of the really neat things about this league is those nets up there which can be utilized. And, of course, the drop kick, which adds 2 points for an extra point, 4 points. And next week we'll be in Pittsburgh on a Friday night. The New York Knights and the Pittsburgh Gladiators. Gladiators playing the LA Cobras this evening. That's coming up 7:30 Eastern Time next Friday night here on ESPN. 21-7. Krochickia. Going deep. Got a man down there. And it's going to be a touchdown. New York Knights, Vince Corville. And I had mentioned a while ago we had talked about him on defense a number of times, but hadn't talked about him on offense.
Which is really strange for a former Mouseketeer, one of Mouse Davis's little wide receivers, worked with Jim Kelly and the Houston Gamblers down in the USFL. Krochickia back in his own end zone. Now looking here for all the world like, hey guys, you can't stop me. This is what they've been trying to do all night, is get somebody deep. Two defenders back there, but Corville slips right between them, makes the big catch, hangs on in the end zone. I think he's a little bit too tired to even dance right now, but again, 21-13, going for the extra point now is New York, and New York right back in the game.
45 yards in the touchdown pass, and that's vintage. Krochickia. That's the way he loves him. Point after is no good.
Hits the middle upright and bounces out. Remember, it's only 9 feet wide back there.
Let's take a look at Krochickia again. This is the game he loves to play. Just drop it deep, tee it high, and let it fly.
End-to-end football reminds me of Raider football, where they like to stretch that offense, stretch that team all the way downfield.
So Vince Corville with the touchdown. It's 21-13 now. New England with the lead.
Even using them in your left hand, these new Wisp offset snips will give you twice the leverage of ordinary snips in your right hand. And because of their offset blade design, give you more control by actually pushing the metal out of your way. So more of your energy goes to work instead of going to waste. Wisp offset snips from Cooper Tools. The difference between work and workmanship.
Oh, the New York Knights are back in this thing. 21-13 they trail. We're just underway, fourth quarter from the Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island. The Knights 1-2 on the young season. The New England Steamrollers looking for their first victory, 0-3. Cradaville, who missed the extra point. That could loom large here. We'll kick it off from the goal line. And that was through the beams in the ceiling here at the Civic Center, folks. Gardner is thrown down from behind. New York Knights, Derek Hughes down. But I got to tell you, there are these steel beams in the ceiling of the Civic Center here in Providence, Rhode Island, and Cradaville kicked them through. There you go. That's where he kicked it, folks. You can see those beams right there above the 10-yard line. That's where the ball went.
Just to give you folks an idea, we're higher than the beams, so that should give you some idea where we are right now. We are way upstairs.
Harold Smith and the Steamrollers. Gardner's in motion. Smith with a lot of time, and there's Hockaday. And just thrown behind him. That was really a tough ball to catch. It was 6'4", and it was behind him and below his waist.
Yeah, but, you know, he knows as he walks back to the huddle, his head's down a little bit. He says, man, I should have had that. As a receiver, you get into this mindset that anytime the ball touches your hand, and he's saying, boy, oh boy, just give me one more chance. Let me out there. Last week I caught 7. I haven't done very much tonight. I've caught a touchdown, but I haven't been that involved. You get used to it when you're a receiver like that. You get used to catching 5, 6, 7 balls a game. I never experienced that.
Well, I didn't know if you were speaking from experience.
No, certainly not.
Or just dreams. Smith, he's got Gardner. Oh, and right into the boards. And, folks, that's the price you pay when you're a receiver in arena football.
I think Gardner's saying, hey, I was on my way out of bounds anyway.
Corville is playing a great defensive game.
He really is. He's looking to pick up the Iron Man Award. He wants a couple of pizzas.
Let's take a look at it again.
Well, there's the pass.
He makes a catch. He knows he's going to get hit.
Yeah, he's out of bounds. Well, it was pretty close. I mean, one step away from being a little bit late with the forearm. More so, I think, the problem there, the forearm to the head, as opposed to being a little late with the shot.
6 inches of padding on the boards here. And Hockaday should have caught that. That was a little low, folks, but it did hit his hands, and he should have caught it. Now, that was a 3rd down situation and 4. So now Babe Pirelli with a big decision here. It's 4th down and 4, the ball at their 19-yard line.
And this former teammate of Herschel Walker down at the University of Washington, University of Georgia, Jim Hockaday, kind of talking to himself now. And Babe Pirelli talking to himself a little bit. He told us this morning, he says, if I had to pick somebody who maybe is the best all-around kid on this team, he said it was Hockaday.
Can put
So Smith will set it down at the 11-yard line. Make it a 47-yard attempt. High snap. Jacobs got plenty on it. No, goodness sake, I can't believe what it hit. There's a wire that's hanging down from the rafters, and it hit that wire, and Jacobs can just shake his head and say, what are you going to do? That's what it hit, folks. Can you believe that?
I think when
I want to tell you, he had that thing had a chance.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure about the direction. You can't tell because it's so narrow. But the trapeze wire, when the circus comes to town, knocks down Jacobs' shot at a field goal from, I'm talking about, a long way off.
Look at this. High in the screen now.
Bing.
There.
Hits it and drops almost straight down.
What a bad break. What a bad break for the New England Steamrollers.
Hey, that's the name of this game, though, is breaks. And that's one of the things that has bothered New England.
But you got stuff hanging from the ceiling. Hey, come on.
Coaches will tell you, they will see things that they have never seen before in football happen during the course of one of these games.
Well, all of a sudden, the New York Knights, with over 10 minutes to go, and trailing by 8, and the ball at the 20-yard line, are in good shape. And Jim Krachickia from the sawed-off shotgun.
Sawed-off shotgun.
That's a short field.
Yeah.
And a good stick over on the far side. 27 is Tony Slayton from Texas A&M.
This kid was a blue-chip prospect coming out of high school. Went to high school in Georgia. He was a sprinter down there.
Yeah.
Comes out of Georgia. Georgia turns out some pretty good football players.
They do.
Went to Texas A&M. Now he's here playing for the Steamrollers.
How did the Aggies get him out from underneath the Bulldogs and the Yellow Jackets?
Well, you're right. That is a good question.
Second down and 7. Pump fake. Krachickia then throws it deep. Well, he gave Washington the pump fake, and then Washington didn't do anything with it. Just stayed there, and Krachickia went ahead and threw it away.
Yeah, the idea is when you give a pump fake, as a receiver, you're hoping that when you see that pump fake, the defender is going to bite on it. You can turn upfield and maybe make the catch deep. No such luck that time for Krachickia because Al Washington just sort of stopped right there. Interesting story about Al Washington. He leaves Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, where he's the city player of the year as a quarterback, goes to Oklahoma, becomes a defensive back. Disenchanted there, comes back to USC, plays out his time as a wide receiver, and he's now in the Arena Football League playing receiver and defensive back.
No one has done much with third down conversions as Krachickia's got one here at 3rd and 7. Penalty marker goes down, and he is sandwiched. And I mean sandwiched. Well, let's just read him off for you. Joe Williams, 88. Jeff Oliver, 89. And Kevin Murphy, 54, the 3 guys, but there was a penalty flag thrown down, and it's going to be against the New York Knights.
They're going to decline that one because Krachickia is scrambling around for dear life back there. It has been a rough evening for Krachickia, the 4th sack on the night for the Steamrollers.
Okay, let's move it. Come on. You call him. You go get him. All right, it's your chance. Do it right. Come on.
Jim Valek talking to his place kicker, Cradaville,
telling him, please, just get the ball off. Try to kick it deep. Don't worry about trying to get through the uprights. Just get us out of our own end here.
And this is going to be 2 yards deep into the end zone, so this is going to be 60 yards on the attempt. Now, remember, he's already hit the scoreboard here. Jacobs hit a wire that's hanging down, and, oh, that got through, and there's going to be a return, and a good return. Chris Brewer back to midfield, so the Steamrollers in good shape. Let's call it the 24-yard line. And we've got a timeout in the field with 7:47 left to go in this game, and New England leading by 8.
Airport, please. I've got a 9 a.m. flight.
No problem.
Good.
What airline?
Alaska.
First time Alaska?
Yes, it is. But airline never take off on time.
First time Alaska.
When Alaska Airlines says a flight will leave at 9 a.m., we do our best to make sure it does.
I tell you, they never leave on time.
So usually the only time you'll have to wait for a plane is when you miss one.
What's the world coming to?
ESPN is now the proud home of Motor Week Illustrated, America's first and foremost weekly racing news show. Keep pace with the racing action on television's fastest half hour. If it goes fast, catch it on Motor Week Illustrated.
This is a lesson all quarterbacks should learn. Don't hit an opposing player with his helmet on with your bare hand, because Harold Smith, who's had a great night, has got that right hand taped up, maybe a jam thumb, and he's over on the sidelines trying to see if he can throw. Meanwhile, number 7, Paul Williams from Tarleton State in Texas has checked into the game.
He played with the Oilers, the Houston Oilers, that is, during their replacement games last season. So this young man had professional experience, but not a whole lot, none out here tonight, and not a whole lot during the course of the season.
Good smart play there, but his running back, number 44, Cletus Jones, cannot hold on to the football. And, boy, that would have been a nice gain. Good call for the first play.
Excellent call. A lot of quarterbacks coming in have to warm up, have to start them. Remember, this guy's been standing on the sidelines helping send the plays in. Little flip pass, and Cletus just can't hang on to it, and he pays for it anyway. That's the problem in football. If you're going to get nailed, you might as well hang on to the pass.
Elbert Gray was the man to lay the lick on him. 6:53 left to go in this game. Quarterback once again is Paul Williams. And Alvin Williams in motion, and he is offsides. And the New England Steamrollers now, late in the game, whether it's mental fatigue or whatever, a lot of mistakes starting to happen.
You know, there's an old saying that you have to learn how to win football games, and I think that's the position New England is in right now. They've finally gotten a few breaks going their way. They've been losing up to this point, but they know that they've got the talent and the ability to win in this league, and it's just a matter of getting over that hump. Everybody concentrating on every play.
And I got to tell you, Babe Pirelli's got his 2 owners like about 6 feet down from where he is in the coaching box, so he knows how important it is to win this game tonight.
You bet.
They're 0-3 in a low-scoring game here at the Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island. A lot of play action that time. There's beautiful defensive play by the New York Knights. Elbert Gray, as for a moment it appeared as though Tony Slayton was going to grab that in the end zone.
We haven't called Elbert's number too much tonight. Number 40 in the white there, New York. He's their defensive specialist. And as the ball comes deep, it looks like Slayton's foot catches. Look, he kind of tries to reach back, dive back for the ball, but Gray is in perfect position to smack the ball away.
Now, a field goal attempt, and Harold Smith's going to come in to hold. They'll put the ball down at the 16-yard line. Okay? Now, Jacobs might drop kick it. He might just go for 3. 42 yards. He got it. Oh, what a big field goal for David Jacobs as he takes his bows. His first field goal of the season. And they love it here at the Civic Center. Standing ovation for David Jacobs. They remember him. He kicked for the New England Patriots at one point in time.
It's a TV. It's a remote.
Yes, justice is served as Jacobs kicks it off, because that one field goal attempt hit that wire hanging down, and he gets a second one in, and finally the teammates come up and push number 28 for the Knights. That's Pat Morrison back into the end zone. And they go, hey, pal, you're not going anywhere.
Sometimes you feel like you can do it all by yourself, and Morrison that time not really aware of the on-rushing special team members. Hey, for New England.
And now the clock is at 5 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in this game. And all of a sudden, the New York Knights now down by 11. So that changes things dramatically.
Oh, yeah, Jacobs is getting the congratulations of his teammates over there. He's just such a great guy, too. We were standing down there preparing for the interview, and fans were screaming at him and cheering him on. They just love him here.
Krochickia. Love lady. Get lucky now. I mean, he was running downfield. He says, well, maybe I'll turn around and say, well, there's the ball.
Yeah. Check your other pocket, Edwin. That, if I'm not mistaken, is that Edwin's first catch on the evening?
I believe it is.
We have yet to call his number, and he's one of the top receivers for this New York team. Played with Krochickia when they were with the Giants replacement team, by the way, last year, so they do know each other quite well.
You know, you get some injuries, and things get out of whack. People kind of get in different spots. They have to fill in different, maybe play a little more defense and offense. 4:24 left to go, 24-13. New England leads New York. Krochickia is going to be dumped. 51 is in there. Steve O'Malley. And Krochickia, for the 5th time tonight, is sacked. And with 4 minutes to go, the New England fans can smell their first victory of the year as Krochickia here. Well, I think it's good work by the defensive backs because he's got some time.
He really does. You can always credit, or in many cases credit, a sack to the secondary if they can tighten up on that defense. And remember, too, New York has some receivers in there who have not played a game yet this year. They've lost 3 receivers already due to injuries this year. Stan Hunter goes out with a punctured lung. Greg Best, a separated shoulder. Pete Rayford, a fractured shoulder. So guys who New York have been counting on early in the year are no longer there. 2nd and 17. Krochickia, Lovelady. Once again. And that's to the 19. And a personal foul. And man, you hate to see that. Especially from an offensive player. That will drive a coach absolutely nuts. And Chris Brewer saying, hey, I'll take a shot like that.
This is one of the problems with two-way football because you remember who got you on the other side.
Yep. You're incensed. Yep. Flag goes down, kind of saying in your face, and Chris Brewer just stands there wisely, doesn't do anything. And so now a fine reception and completion by New York is going to be nullified.
See, Lovelady might have laid a good lick on Brewer, gotten him with a little cheap shot at some point in time, or vice versa. And now all of a sudden, you know, Lovelady makes the reception. Brewer's there. He sees him. Just loses his head. But another stupid mistake by the New York Knights.
Number 21 offense. 8 yards. Still 2nd down.
So the folks here really hanging tough with this team, going 0-3. But into it tonight. And we've got about 6,000 on hand here at the Civic Center. This seats about 11-8 for arena football. And 2nd down. We're told now 7,000 the official attendance. Penalty markers down all over and an incomplete pass.
I think you're going to get a hold on New York, perhaps. I'll tell you, Steamrollers number 51, Steve O'Malley, did just an incredible shot into the wall. But let's watch it from the end zone now. Number 82 in the white, that's Alec Gibson from Illinois. Well, I mean, he's got a hold of everything he can grab right there. He did everything but grab him by the ankles and throw him down. In fact, he will just about throw him down there. Yeah, you used to know about that as an offensive lineman.
I was on roller skates.
I see.
I didn't know about any of that stuff. I was backpedaling too fast.
New York is playing New England's kind of game from the last 3 weeks. Penalties, turnovers, just bad decisions, and Jim Valek is beside himself.
I'll tell you, it's not going to get any better next week against Pittsburgh.
Oh my.
10 for 52. But that comes from a lot of players who are playing for the first time. A lot of people haven't played together. As Krochickia has taken his lumps. 3rd and 14. Sack for the New England Steamrollers.
And there's not much that Krochickia can do but just drop back there, hope he gets some protection, and when he doesn't, be prepared to get hit. There's O'Malley in there. There's 68, Sylvester Bembry. It has been a long night for Jim Krochickia.
And the clock will run. It's under 2 minutes now. Remember, the final minute will stop for incomplete passes. Both teams still with 3 timeouts. So Crowderville will try to get it down into the end zone. Chris Brewer is stationed down there. And he really hooks it up in the stands that time.
Well, if you remember in the first half, Crowderville was kicking from our left and kicked it up into the stands in front of us, so it only makes sense that he would hook it off to the other side.
Well, folks, if he was a golfer, he'd have shot about an 89 today because he's been out of bounds about 4 times. 24-13. New England has the football in New York territory at the 21-yard line. Williams is still in at quarterback. And with the clock running, 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go. Gardner, penalty marker is down as we reach the 1 minute mark, so the clock's going to stop there anyway.
Paul Williams, incidentally, continues as the Steamrollers quarterback as he heads to the sidelines to talk things over with Babe Perilli.
Timeout on the field, 24-13, New England with the lead. Chairman of the New England Steamrollers, Bob Andreoli, telling Babe Perilli, you know, they still got to score twice to beat us.
No, but they're the best defense, so we're going to try to sit on them.
Sometimes I don't think coaches are paid enough, you know? I mean, they not only they have to hear it from the fans and everything else, but the guy that signs their check is down there saying, well, you know, maybe we ought to do this, and he's a football guy going, well, you know, they're the best defense that we've run up against.
So we want to just try to control the ball here, run the clock out as best we can. Again, our number one quarterback is on the sideline. That's what Babe Perilli is saying.
Now, each team with 3 timeouts.
We're going to run the ball, but see,
each team with 3 timeouts, and in the final minute, as you take a look at Harold Smith, there were 3 touchdown passes on the night, but a sore right hand after being assessed a personal foul earlier. The clock will stop on out of bounds and incomplete passes.
You know, maybe with his performance tonight, Harold Smith should be our Iron Man just for getting in the fight, although he doesn't play both ways, so he can't get the award. I don't see many quarterbacks who are willing to step in there and slug people.
2nd down and 15. And they'll run it. Cletus Jones. And a timeout is called by the New York Knights. Jim Valek, he's going to have to go back to New York and try maybe a few more players out and see if they can get things together. They have scored, folks, a total of 20 points in arena football in the last 8 quarters, and we'll be seeing him next week against the Pittsburgh Gladiators, a team that just a couple weeks ago scored 82 points against this New England Steamroller team. And there's Babe Perilli and the backup quarterback, Paul Williams, from Tarleton State down in Texas.
Young man wants to attend medical school when his football days are over.
Yeah, he likes karate and music.
Yeah, and wants to attend medical school. Yeah. It's an interesting combination.
Well, maybe he'll be a foot doctor.
Perhaps. If he learns how to take care of hands and wrists, he can help the guy that's in front of him get better for next week's game.
3rd down and 15, so maybe Jacobs will get a try for a drop kick. Williams will put it up. He's got Gardner. It's not enough for the 1st down, though, but it gets Jacobs close to try to do whatever he would like to do. And another timeout is called by the New York Knights.
Hey, I want Rafferty. Is Rafferty in there? Okay, the center. Stop kick. You know what? No. Field goal. Get the field goal. Come on, Harold.
Boy, Dave told us today that we definitely see a drop kick.
Well, we did see one. It was, they had a penalty on it, remember?
Yeah, Jacobs that wasn't really one. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to see.
Well, he told us, too, at halftime, I hope I get a chance at a drop kick. And he asked the coach.
There you go with the scoring. 6 points for the TD, 4 points for a field goal by the drop kick, 3 points by the field goal by placement, 2 points safety, point after touchdown by run, pass, or drop kick, and then 1 point for the point after. Now, it's 24-13. All right, 3 points will make it 27-13, and 2 touchdowns with extra points will tie it. A drop kick would put the pressure on the other team.
Well, let's see if Jacobs can bring the house down. If he can put this one through the 9-foot uprights.
30-yard attempt. No good. Now it can be fielded. Corville has it. Corville breaks loose. Corville still on his feet. Jacobs is back there. He could go all the way. Jacobs makes a tackle.
But Jacobs stays on the ground. He's hurt. He is hurt.
Looks like he got the wind knocked out of him. He's on his knees. Now, look at, folks, 30 seconds left to go here. 30 seconds left to go. And here's a look at it.
Now, the kick by Jacobs. Not that far off when you consider it's only a 9 foot wide. Now it's in play. Corville takes it. Now, tell me these guys from the Steamrollers aren't maybe a little bit tired. Some good blocks in there, but a couple of guys just kind of take it easy. Smith, no chance. The quarterback trying to make the tackle. And here goes Corville. One guy to beat, the kicker, who's only got one shoe on, no less. Look at him dive, make the play, and then everybody comes crashing into him.
His teammate, number 68 for the Steamrollers, Sylvester Bembry. It came flying in on top of him. Look at it, go Sylvester. Now, we've got a situation here where New York has it on the 1 yard line. It's 24-13, 30 seconds left to go. They've got a couple of timeouts left.
One more time.
Who said kickers are one-dimensional players?
That's right. Jacobs really got on his horse to make this play. Grabbed onto just whatever little piece of material he could on the jersey. Now here comes Bembry, all 260 pounds of him. Dives right into the pile, and that landed right on Dave Jacobs' gut. And a pretty skinny little gut it is, too. I mean, he's not a big guy. Jacobs is only 160 pounds. Maybe. With his mustache. Well, it looks like a little more than just the wind knocked out of him now. He's been down on that ground a long time.
30 seconds remain. 24-13. And, folks, in arena football, there's plenty of time. And Jacobs being attended to. And we'll take a look at Corville. And Jacobs will make the tackle, but then he'll pull Corville on top of himself when Bembry comes in. And there you got two guys on top of you.
Boy.
And, you know, kickers don't wear all the pads that you guys wear.
No, they're little tiny shoulder pads.
Sometimes not even any thigh pads or knee pads because they want to have all that flexibility that they can to kick.
And the crowd favorite here tonight. It's a big hand from the fans. As he comes off the field, he's going to be sore tomorrow. He's already sore. He's going to be really hurting tomorrow.
So Jacobs has been a big factor here. He's had 3 extra points. He's had a field goal. He's accounted for 6 points. And that field goal looms very large at this moment. 24-13. Here come the Knights. And a new quarterback is in there, Stan Yagello. They call him Yags. He played last week. And the handoff up the middle, and they don't get it.
And remember, this is where New York has had more problems than anybody else in the Arena Football League, and that is scoring from inside their own 5-yard line.
Okay, I got to call 2 quarterbacks in a row.
Yeah, sneak it to the right. Well, sneak it away from the nose guard. Well, you know, try to read him. That's our last time out.
Yeah. Okay. You want to call it one way or the other, though, the sneak?
Yeah.
That formation looks like it was better to the left.
Yeah, but he's coming left. He came that way.
Okay, so
take it left again. Take it left.
So Yagello is in there at quarterback. Now, we haven't heard if Krachicki is injured or if they just want to maybe hold him out on this series and try to save him. Now, they're out of timeouts according to our figures. And there are 25 seconds left to go. Now, the clock stops on incomplete passes and out of bounds. There's Krachicki. They're going to sneak it. You heard Valek told him to go to his right. He said go to the left. And they've taken the football away. It's loose. And the Steamrollers come up with it.
And the heartache continues for New York. Inside their own 5-yard line. They tried to throw 4 passes last week. Could not score. They try a sneak this week. Yagello could not hang on to it. And it's going the other way.
They're calling it a fumble.
unhealthy man right now. He's saying that the official on the far side signaled touchdown.
I didn't see that.
I did not see it either. But Jim Valek says he saw it. The official to the near sidelines did not make a signal. To the left side where the sneak was going.
Let's take a look. Yagello on the sneak.
He's in the middle of all that mess. Somewhere the ball comes popping out. There it is. Down there on the ground helping pull that ball out was Steve O'Malley. Bill Sorgan heading back out onto the field. Valek says, go ask him. Go ask the other official. He signaled touchdown. But I don't think Burrow's going to let that affect him. And now he goes asks.
17 seconds remain and no timeouts left for the New York Knights, so New England will simply run a play and that'll end the game.
But you can bet that Jim Valek,
now they threw almost twice, but they didn't step in a yardage on. Well, it's late and none of us have had dinner. And Williams just falls in the football, and the clock will wind down, and the New England Steamrollers will win their first game of the year in arena football. Final score, Steamrollers 24 and the Knights 13. Little Caesars Pizza Iron Man of the game. And we're pleased to announce that Alvin Williams of the New England Steamrollers is our Little Caesars Iron Man player of the game. 4 receptions, 31 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pass interception. So congratulations to Alvin Williams. Once again, the final score, 24-13. We'll be back to wrap things up at the Providence Civic Center in just a moment.
Don't I get 2 pizzas for the price of 1?
Don't think of it as 1 pizza. Think of it as 1 pizza and 1 box.
What am I going to do with a box?
Ever hear of origami?
What's that?
A pterodactyl.
A what?
At Little Caesars, you never get just 1 pizza. You get
Pizza.
2 great pizzas for 1 low price.
Budweiser and Bud Light join with USA Today to give baseball fans something new. Now, for the first time, you can also pick up an official All-Star fan ballot free wherever you pick up Bud or Bud Light. Vote for your favorite Major League players. Then, test your baseball trivia and win valuable prizes.
Answers are in USA Today every day.
So fans, settle back with a cold Bud or Bud Light. Vote for your favorite All-Stars and be part of a baseball tradition.
Fuss with shampoo and conditioner? Who needs it? I want to wash my hair and go. And now I can with Pert Plus. Complete shampoo plus complete conditioner in 1 bottle. Pert Plus leaves my hair clean, conditioned, and looking terrific. Before, to get results this good, I used shampoo and conditioner. No more. Now, with Pert Plus, I just wash and go.
Pert Plus, shampoo plus complete conditioner in 1.
And now, a Bull Durham moment.
Honey, I want you to wear these when you're pitching on the road. They're garters.
The rose goes in the front, big guy.
Bull Durham, rated R. Starts Wednesday, June 15th.
The days of the unreachables are over. Metro Media Paging announces the Reachable System. Call 1-800-437-BEEP and join the Reachables.
Once again, the final score, New England 24 and New York 13. Tonight's game was brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just alike. And by your local Little Caesars, where you get 2 great pizzas for 1 low price. And by Pert Plus, shampoo plus complete conditioner in one, so you just wash and go. Don't forget, next Saturday, we'll be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where Jim Krochicki's New York Knights take on Mike Hohensee and the Pittsburgh Gladiators live at 7:30 Eastern Time. We'd like to thank Bob Ecknell of New England, Dan Leary of New York for all their help this weekend. For Steve Raible, I'm Roger Twibell saying thank you and good night, everybody.